Patterns of killings and showing no mercy are the two main traits of serial killers. Usually they're smart enough to make sure they do not get caught in the net of crimes they weave themselves, but other times they're caught because of little mistakes. Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. Today, we'll be looking at the 5 killers who showed no mercy in court. Yeah, you heard it right. So, let's start our video. Number 1. The Railway Killer. Angel Resendez, also known as a Railway Killer, was a Mexican serial killer of the 1990s who was one of the top people on the FBI fugitive list. Resendez claimed to have been sent by God to punish and kill those who deserve to die. His first 2 victims were Holly Dunn and her boyfriend, Christopher Meyer, in August 1997. Resendez killed Christopher, but Holly survived their injuries and later became a witness in his trial. Resendez would kill his victims and take some of their belongings with him. He killed most of his victims near railway tracks in Kentucky, Texas, and Illinois. When he was declared a fugitive, his sister contacted the FBI and told them about his whereabouts. His sister was awarded $86,000, and in July 1999, Resendez surrendered to the authorities. His lawyers tried to save Resendez from the death penalty during the trial by claiming insanity, but he was sentenced to death for his brutal acts anyways. Before his execution on the 27th of June 2006, he asked God for forgiveness for having unintentionally followed the orders of devils, thinking he was doing the work of God. The self-declared and inhumane angel of death was killed for good. Number 2. The Vampire Killer of Sacramento. Richard Chase was a short-lived serial killer who killed 6 people in a short time of 1 month. He has been a disturbed person since his childhood. Richard used to kill animals and eat them raw. Richard spent most of his life in mental institutions. He was declared schizophrenic, and after a long course of medication and better behavior, he was released from the institute into his mother's care. His mother did not look after him for long, and he eventually left his medication too. Richard shifted into another apartment, and his roommates soon left because of his erratic behavior. He would bring birds in, bite off their heads while still alive, and then suck the blood out. Moreover, he would blend their organs and mix them with Coca-Cola to drink them up. But soon, his weird obsession with killing animals shifted, and he started killing people. Richard also became famously known as the Vampire Killer of Sacramento because he sucked the blood out of all of his victims and ate their organs. His first kill was on the 29th of December 1977 of 51-year-old Ambrose Griffin, father of 1 and an engineer. Richard also killed a 22-year-old pregnant woman named Terry Wallen, whose husband David Wallen found her dead in their apartment, drained out of the blood. Fortunately, Richard was caught soon as he was not a very smart killer, and while awaiting the death trial, he died in December 1979 because of a medication overdose in his prison cell. Number 3. The Dating Game Killer. Rodney Alcala was a charming photographer who chose his victims cleverly by offering them a free photo shoot. He also appeared and won in a popular TV dating game show, and later, after his conviction, started being known as the Dating Game Killer. Rodney photographed all of his victims before he killed them, and almost 130 photographs were found in his home with other evidence, out of which 100 photos remain unidentified. Before the killings, Rodney was convicted of the rape of an 8-year-old girl in 1972. Using the alias John Berger, he molested many women, and then, to get away with his crimes, he started killing his victims. Although he was convicted for only 6 murders that he confessed to, it's said that his actual body count is way higher than he admits. He was sentenced to death for his crimes. Number 4. The Toolbox Killers. Lawrence Bittaker and Roy Norris were friends and brutal killers who were also popularly known as the Toolbox Killers. They got the title as they used weapons including ice picks, screwdrivers, and other things that are available in the toolboxes of houses. They killed 5 people in Southern California when their inhumanity was put to an end because of a confession. Roy confessed the crimes they committed to a friend who had just been released from prison. Their friend was traumatized by what he heard as both Roy and Lawrence brutally raped their victims and then killed them. The friend told the authorities about everything, and both Lawrence and Roy were arrested on the 20th of November 1979. Lawrence was sentenced to life in prison, while Roy was given a life sentence because of a plea bargain as he told the authorities everything about their crimes. While awaiting his execution, Lawrence died in his prison cell at San Quentin State Prison on the 13th of December 2019 due to natural causes. Roy also died a month later in his prison cell. Number 5. The Freeway Strangler or Killer. William Bonin was one of the worst killers in history, also known as the Freeway Strangler or Killer. Bonin pleaded guilty to 14 official and 21 unofficial killings. Although authorities believe that the number of people he killed is 36 or higher. William violently assaulted his victims sexually and physically and then killed them by stabbing them multiple times or strangling them into unconsciousness. William targeted young teenage boys as his victims, and unlike any other serial killer, had 6 accomplices who helped him execute his crimes. In his early childhood, William was the victim of child molestation by his caretaker and guardian. His grandfather is a convicted child molester. He also had an abusive alcoholic father and spent most of his life in juvenile detention centers for minor crimes. Even outside of his house, he was molested and bullied by older teenage boys. His mental situation took a toll on him, and William specifically targeted young boys to prey on. He was a member of the US Air Force during the Vietnam War in 1965, where he also abused soldiers working under him. In 1969, he was sent to prison for 5 years for assault on young boys. In 1975, an additional 4 years were added to his prison time as he assaulted a boy named David McVicker, who reported him later. After being released from prison in 1979, he started killing all the victims he raped so that he didn't get caught. His first victim was Marcus Grabs, a 17-year-old boy who was hitchhiking. William picked him up, raped him, and then killed him by stabbing him 80 times. One of his victims, William Pugh, confessed to the authorities, and William was caught in the act of sodomizing a teenage boy in June 1980. William's car was searched, and the police found a thick scrapbook of details on the Freeway Strangler in his vehicle, as also multiple knives and other weapons. His trial began on the 4th of November 1981, and he was sentenced to death. On the 23rd of February 1996, he was given a lethal injection. Some of his accomplices went to jail, one killed himself, while others died of natural causes. And that's all for today's video. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments section down below. I hope that you found this video interesting, and if you want to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing to my channel. See you in the following video with some more of the latest updates, and until then, stay tuned.